The Banner brothers are as busy as it gets. Amazing students at Providence Christian who excel in everything they put their mind to, making them perfect candidates to be bright athletes.
Well, if the definition of bright athletes was in a dictionary, you'd likely see a picture of Rylan and Roman Banner next to it. The twin brothers have 4.5 GPAs while playing both baseball and football, volunteering at the harbor in Dothan, and serving as Headland ambassadors.
We're kind of like best friends and worst enemies.
Rylan serves on the Student Leadership Council and FCA. Roman is in the Future Medical Professionals Club and Spanish Club.
We compete and we push each other to be better, and it's just one of those things that has bettered me and everything, my walk with the Lord, my schooling and athletics, and he's just always been by my side.
And the busyness of both their schedules has certainly helped their efficiency.
Sports in general have really improved my time management with homework and schoolwork at night, because I'm usually getting home at around 7 o'clock. So it forces me to work fast and work diligently.
And for the Providence Christian Eagles head baseball coach, he sees firsthand how special these two are, not only between the lines, but outside as well, with his own son being a close friend.
I couldn't pick a better set of brothers for my son to be friends with. They're unique, they're different, but they both have their positive qualities. So yeah, I mean, they're outstanding, students. They're great athletes. They're good friends. They're the best teammates.
The brothers plan to attend Auburn University in the fall. Roman has an interest in the dentistry field, while Rylan has a plan to get a degree while also pursuing ministry.